What top NFL players bought with their first check? It's not surprising that a lot of people have their eyes on NFL players, especially after they signed their first professional contracts. How NFL players spent their first paycheck is always a point of attraction to many fans. You can guess the reason. NFL players top the chart of highest earners in sports, as they collect in a week what some professionals work their entire careers to get. Doesn't the thought of this alone spike a thought in you? Some NFL players collect as high as 300,000 euros, dollars, or pounds as their first salary, or even more. Wow! Hundreds of players after signing their first contract begin to wonder what to do with their first check, while some already have it mapped out. Some consider investing, saving, and perhaps spending lavishly. Although many of the top names in football have no record of what they did with their first check, here are some that we can reference. Now, let's check what top NFL players bought with their first check. Saquon Barkley, a house. Saquon Barkley is a top American football player who is a running back for the New York Football Giants. He emerged as the second overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft and hit a big deal with the New York Giants. The 21-year-old signed a deal worth $31.2 million and has said in many interviews that his first splurge will be on his parents. He sure outdoes himself. True to his words, Barkley bought a house for his parents. Sharing photos of the house on social media platforms, Barkley said it was his long-term promise to his parents, and it's an amazing feeling that he fulfilled the promise. It was a great sign to see Barkley take pictures on the lawns of the house he bought for his parents. Read the caption on the photos he posted. Something I promised my parents ever since I was a young kid. Finally, being able to achieve that goal is the most amazing feeling. Every kid out there that has a dream, continue to keep your head down and work your butt off, and great things will come along the way. Michael Robinson, Chevrolet in the house. You cannot mention top NFL players without listing Michael Robinson. As a pro football player, he appeared in over 300 games in his career. Can you take a guess at what this top player bought with his first check? A goddamn Chevrolet car! Michael Robinson bought himself a 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe, which was one of the sleekest vehicles back in 2007. One would think Michael's splurge ended when he bought a Chevrolet, but no. This player also purchased a house with a signing bonus. What a spendthrift! While other players were focused on saving and investing with their first check, Michael showered himself with his favorites. He didn't stop at this. He also bought some jewelry with his first check. In one of his interviews, Michael Robinson disclosed that he was scared of having such a large sum of money with him. He was also scared of being robbed and utterly disappointed. He thereafter made the decision on what to do with his first paycheck. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared to have a large sum of money. I thought somebody might rob me or take the money out of my account somehow. I'd never seen money on this scale before. I felt a responsibility like, whoa man, there's so many people looking at me with this money that I can't fail. I felt like if I failed and blew a check this big, it would be embarrassing and a shame, he said. Do you wish to see more interesting content from us? Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and leave your notifications on to be one of the first to see our amazing videos. Maurice Jones-Drew, a house. Maurice Jones-Drew was also a running back in the league with many honors to his belt. Maurice's story had an interesting twist because he didn't receive the first paycheck, but only received his signing bonus. Now, before you start wondering why this was so, Maurice over-celebrated in his first preseason game and was fined for doing so. He lost his first check in that line. Oops! Despite missing out on that first check, Maurice decided to splurge on himself. He bought himself a nice house with his signing bonus and also saved from it. Nate Burleson, fake watch and chain. While hundreds of fans expect NFL players to live extravagant lives after receiving their first check, Nate Burleson threaded a different path. He was really frugal and bought nothing remarkable with his first check. Can you imagine a top player buying a fake watch and chain with his first paycheck? Amusing. The interesting thing was that Burleson knew he was buying a fake watch and chain thinking no one would notice if they were actually fake or not. Looking back, the NFL player whose first check was $529,000 regretted not buying a car and a house. I was very frugal at first because I figured I'd better walk out of this career with more money than I came in with. I didn't know how long my career was going to last, he said in an interview. Ike Taylor, clothes and shoes. Ike Taylor was a top American football cornerback who was drafted in the 4th round of the 2003 NFL Draft. Despite describing his first paycheck as a life-changing event, Taylor saw no need to buy a lot of stuff from the money. Rather, he saved a lot of it. Interesting. I threw it in the bank and maybe bought some clothes and shoes. That was about it, he said in one of his interviews. Taylor said having to work so hard to reach that level of financial stability, he understood that he needed to save so he could live well for the rest of his life. Heath Evans, Mercedes-Benz SUV. Heath Evans is an American player who was a running back in the league. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2001 NFL Draft by the Seattle Seahawks. Heath Evans was one of those players that gave back to their family after receiving their first paycheck. That was amazing. This young NFL player fulfilled a long-term promise to his sister by buying her a Mercedes-Benz SUV. Wow. Don't think that he didn't splurge any of his check on himself. Of course he did. He also saved some of his signing bonus. Eric Davis roofed his parents' house, bought a gold watch and sweatsuits. Eric Keith Davis plays at the center field in the NFL. He's one of the top NFL players that spoke about how he spent his first check. Eric bought himself a gold watch and sweatsuits from his first check and roofed his parents' house for them. And that was about it for Eric. Quite simple, right? LaDainian Tomlinson, a house and car. Another NFL player that invested his first check on his family was Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson was an American football running back in the league and classified as one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. After receiving his first check, Tomlinson bought his mother a new house and car, saved a little, and invested the rest of the money. According to him, the first paycheck gave him the financial ability to do all he wanted to do, including buying a Cadillac Escalade for his mother. What a great feeling. These are what some top NFL players bought with their first checks. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more interesting videos from us.